Welcome to Thez Nutz Garage, and today we're going to be back out here working on old field. Alright, like I said in the intro, today what we're going to be doing is working on old field. Now this is an ex-law enforcement vehicle, and when I got it, the dash was all cracked up. The upper piece of the dash, the area around the radio looked good, but all the clips that were behind it were broke. Down around the, I guess your power ports, you have a little door that flips open and down. That was broke, and that's because they just, all their microphones in these police vehicles, they just screw them in anywhere. So it's just plastic, and what it did over time is it cracked it and broke it. So since I've had this truck, what I've been doing is I've been finding parts to repair the dash and the area around it. Now, I did find some pieces, and I did find a new dash, top part of the dash for the truck, and as I had it sitting in my garage at the other house, it just broke, just sitting on the shelf. So these pieces are really brittle. I found another dash, upper dash, we'll call it, and it was tan. And my truck is interior is gray, so what I did was I kind of sanded it down, put some bonding primer on it, and then I painted it with one color gray, and it was just really kind of shiny, and I didn't really care for that. So today I've repainted it a different type of gray. Now the gray that I painted it today matches almost perfect. But what I'm going to start doing is starting to get all these parts painted and installed. And what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to show you how to paint I guess it's the centerpiece of the dash where your air conditioner controls, my 4-wheel drive switch is, and then the radio. I'm just going to paint that because it does have some vents in it. And I'm probably going to paint the ashtray too, the very front of the ashtray that goes down there. And that's all I'm going to show you, because if you get the gist of that, you can paint the rest of this dash. But what I'll do now is I'll get the parts that I'm going to paint, and then what I'm going to do is I'll show you the dash part that I've already painted. So let me get these parts and all right, so I'm going to show you these parts now. Now, this was the original part of the dash, and then they screwed the screws in it up, I guess somewhere around in here, and it cracked it and broke it. But finding these little doors that actually work, it's kind of hard to find nowadays. These usually break on the inside and they just don't work right. But this is the color gray. Half of this is painted with the can that, which is this half, with a can of spray paint from, I believe it's Duplicolor. It's a vinyl fabric paint. I really don't even see the color on it, but it is a gray color. Charcoal gray, it's right there on the back there. So this is what I've used to paint this, and it's pretty much a perfect match for these 4 vehicles. Now, what we're going to be painting is this. Now this come out of a wrecked Expedition somewhere. I think I bought it down in Bangor, Tennessee. But they had drilled a hole in here for an alarm light. So I'm going to be fixing this with basically some caulk, maybe trying to fill that in, letting it dry, and just painting over the top of it. I'm not really too concerned with it, but I really don't want a hole there. So I'm just going to try to fill it with some caulk that's paintable caulk. Now you can see this truck has the 4-wheel drive switch in it, and I got to pull this out. I have to pull my switches out and all these controls. Also, you can see how it's done this. So what I have to do is I have some little block of sandpaper. This is an 80-60 grit. Bought this at Walmart. I'm basically just going to sand this down until all this is smooth, and I'm going to sand the whole entire thing all the way around, because some of this will start, I'm just going to say peeling off. So I'm going to sand it down with this, and then once I get it all sanded and smoothed out, I'll just say feathered out, what I'll do is I'll take some wax and grease remover, wipe this down real good, let it dry, and then I have some bonding paint that I'll show you here in a minute when I get to the paints that I'm going to spray on it first, let it dry, and I'll go back over it with a green Scotch-Brite. You could use a maroon one if you wanted to. Hit that, sand that bonding primer, and then what I'll do is I'll put on my Duplicolor paint on all of that. But I first have to remove all these vents and these switches because I don't want all this stuff gray. And then there's the ashtray. Now this ashtray looks pretty good as far as the color goes. It's not all, you know, the paint's not peeling on it like the other part of the dash was, but I think I am still going to paint it. I think it's molded in all at once. What I have to do is tape it off really good. There are 2 pieces of this, and I think I can remove the bottom one. So what I'll do is I'll tape them up, each one, and then I'll paint them. I may have to use some black electrical tape because I don't have any masking tape on me. So we'll just see. So let's get over here and I'll show you what I've already painted as far as the dash goes. All right, so here is the dash that I have painted. It is in good shape. None of it's cracked. The factory one, or the original one that's in the truck, the police department screwed a bunch of mics in right here, and I think right there, and it just broke all that to pieces. These are really, as they get older, they become really fragile, so have to be careful with them. So it's dried and ready to install, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint my other parts, and while they're drying, I'll install this new dash piece into the truck. So I'll jump in the truck real quick and show you how it's all broke up and why we're replacing this. All right, so you can see this is all broke up right here. You can see down here, they have screwed in a bunch of equipment. Over here, they've screwed in a mic. I have all new pieces here and here, but I'm not gonna paint those pieces because they all match already. And I'll be replacing this piece because I have a new one there. And I will be replacing this piece, which it kind of runs up underneath the dash that we're going to be replacing. I have one, but it's at the other location, so next time I go back to Tennessee, I'll have to pick that up and bring it and replace it. Now, as you can see up here on the top of the dash, it's also cracked. So these are known for that. I'm hoping that when I put the new piece over there in, it doesn't do this within, 6 days. You can also see how they screwed in a mic there. So that's why we're going to be replacing this piece, is because of those screws. And then the main reason is all on the back side, the clips that are on the back of this, they broke. All right, so the first thing we're going to need to do is remove our vents. And we basically have a screw here and a screw here, and then we have some tabs. This is a 732 socket. Now the vents that are in the truck now are the ones that I'm going to be using because these are broke inside. The way the vents operate is broke, so I'm just going to be using those. So what I'll do is I'm going to take these out, throw them to the side, and then when I grab my other ones, I'll take them apart. As you can see, like inside, all the stuff's broke. So even just trying to unscrew that, it broke that part of this piece of this dash. So I'm glad the tabs are in there because that's what's going to be holding this vent in over here, is basically these tabs. These things are so fragile. Same thing here, I'm going to remove my 4-wheel drive switch. And now you see that I have this piece in here. This isn't gonna come out. So what I'm gonna have to do is just tape it up from the front right here and then tape this up so that way I don't get any paint on that clear lens that's in there or on my 2 high all-wheel drive, 4 high and 4 low switch. All right, so now I have my 60 and my 80 grit sand block. I'm just gonna, you can see how that paint's just coming right off of that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sand this whole thing down like that. And once I get that done, I'm gonna go over it with this green Scotch-Brite and clean it up some more. And then I'll wipe it down with a paper towel and some wax and grease remover. So I've got basically all my stuff painted. It's pretty much dried. This is the ashtray. I'm just gonna cut it open. I mean, this I'll never hardly use, but it is nice to have it to where it matches. And the paint's still trying to set up, so I'm trying to be really easy with it. These are my vents for my air conditioner. As you can see, these are the good ones here. Well, if I get all my stuff within reach. All right, so these are the little vents that go up and down. This is what's broke on the other ones. And you basically just be really easy and just snap them back together. That's all they do. It's best when you paint them to take them apart so that way all the black stuff is still black. It looks like factory. And basically, the way these work, that's got a hole and that's got a clip, so you put the top in and then just push down and it'll snap right back in there. That little hole goes in the top and then you just supposed to push down. Pops in. I did use my other 4x4 control knob as a cover because I don't have any masking tape, so I was using clear tape, which probably isn't the best thing to use, but that's all I got. So that's what I used. Trying to be real careful and not just scratch up my paint job. But I'm ready to put this back together. And there's a reason why I'm doing all this, other than the fact that it's broke, is a little while back I had installed a new speakers and field out here, So now what I'm fixing to do is I'm going to be installing a new stereo. So stay tuned and I'll show you what radio I'm going to be installing in this truck. Probably be installing a backup camera as well. Just in case I'm trying to hook up a trailer. When I had it on a backup camera on my F-150, I really liked it when I was hooking up a trailer because you see that camera, man, you can see right where you was going. All right, so here is the main cover. We've painted it, and that little hole that was at the top, I filled it full of some white caulk that's paintable and painted it. It doesn't, you can still see an indentation, but I don't care. It'll be perfectly fine. So I'm gonna go out there and pop this into the dash and get it to where it's supposed to go. I've already got the other part of the dash installed. This is all I'm lacking for now. So let me throw this in the truck and then I'll come back. I'll show you what it looks like finished, and then I'll show you the radio that we're gonna be installing. Alrighty, so I've got it all installed. The paint's still kind of curing. You can tell, like right back over here. I did get some scratches on it when I was trying to install this piece here, right here. Kind of scratched that up. The caulk up here still trying to set, so I'm gonna have to touch that up when I reinstall the new stereo. But all of this at the bottom is all fixed. Everything's working. This piece right here is just gonna have to stay with the screws in it, if you can see. I'll probably clean that up, smooth it out, because I do have a center console I'm gonna be installing into this truck, and that's a be coming up in the near future. So when I get all that installed, that'll actually cover that up. Now, this looks a lot better, but this tape thing for my hooking up to my phone for music is kind of getting old. So what we're gonna be doing here in the future is installing a new stereo with a backup camera. So let's jump out and I'll show you what stereo we're gonna be installing. All right, so that's gonna be the end of this video, but before we go, we've got to cover a few things. Now in this video, what I did, you see where I got repaired the dash that's in the truck and painted it with the Duplicolor paint. Letting that sit, gonna let it cure before I go installing my new stereo. Now in the future, what we're gonna be doing to Phil, because Phil in the last video, he was just having a fit about wanting some parts. Well, we've got some parts for him and we're working on him. And what we're gonna be doing is, I have a center console. I have another Expedition that I'm thinking about installing into this truck. But to be able to install that center console, all I have to do is take the 60/40 seat that's in the truck now and have it turned into 2 bucket seats. So gonna probably be doing that maybe in the near future. But also I have an upper console I'm going to be installing in the truck, so that way when we add lights or other accessories to the truck, I'll be able to install those toggle switches in that upper console. I also have an 8-inch amp and a factory setup for a sub over here that I got to replace the sub. I'm probably going to be putting that back here to complete the sound system in Phil here. Now, the radio that I'm going to be installing probably in the next week or so, because I'm waiting on a backup camera. I ordered it, I'm just waiting on it to come in. It's going to be this Pioneer AVH 120 Bluetooth. Now this radio has a DVD player in it, Bluetooth. It also has the ability for a backup camera. It's hot. It's hot out here today, guys. But it has a lot of features on it, and I did buy it from Walmart.com. It was 119 bucks. Finding these radios that are doubled in, that are in stock anywhere, is getting pretty hard. Sonic Electronics, the only radios they have are $600-700 radios in stock. The cheaper ones all sold out. So I bought this. We're going to be installing it in the next week or so. I also have this Alpha Defense Company. And since I don't really use my FM radio that much, I'm going to be replacing the antenna that's on this truck. You know, that's one of them 3-foot antennas. I'm going to be replacing that with this. And this is basically like a 50 caliber looking bullet. The blue tip, I got that, so it's since Phil was a police unit, that'll kind of give a, you know, a little salute to the police officers going down the road, you know, maybe not, maybe they won't recognize it. But that's what I got that blue tip for, but kind of, you know, honor Phil and his previous service as a law enforcement vehicle. And like I said, we'll be installing all that at once, at least the stereo, the antenna, and the backup camera. And then we've got a lot of stuff coming in the future, so make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can hit that bell and get notifications whenever we post a video. We got this. This is a tuner, and I'm hoping to be able to use this on Betty White and Lucille. That way I can put some tunes on those engines. Maybe have a little performance tune, maybe a fuel mileage tune for each one of them. So that way if I'm going on a long trip, I can adjust the tunes that are on them, or if I just want them to be a little bit more sportier than they are, I'll be able to tune them. This also will check engine lights and codes and things like that. So those are coming up in the near future. Rodney has some shocks sitting over here. We're going to be doing some suspension work and steering work on him in the coming future. Also have front brakes for Betty White. So I have a lot of videos that's coming out, so stay tuned for all of them. I've got more videos that I know what to do with, really, to get them all done, so it's going to take some time. So stay tuned for all of those, and I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next video.